Right now, though, we're going to turn our focus to the entertainment or music industry. With me here is Ephantus Kamau. I was going to call you Safari.
Yeah, it's okay.
Who's the chairman of the Performers' Rights Society of Kenya, also known as PRISC. And karibu sana to the show, first of all, Ephantus.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
We are talking about the effects on the creative industry, which is taking quite a hit, as everyone else, you know. But creatives, of course, this was 2020.
Yes,
Mpaka manyimbo za 2020 zilikuwa zimetolewa.
zimetoka, and it's
So we
really
were ready to gun for the new year and the new
true.
decade. And especially where someone doesn't have, you know, a stable income or a salary that they can
Yes,
look forward to, it's very much dependent on
on music.
demand and music.
Yes,
It's a very tricky time.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So a lot of people, you know, they're dependent on those concert sales or gigs, you know, like a performance here and there. That's how they would get their living. What would be your sort of overall view of just how much the industry has been affected this time?
thank you very much, Joyce. It's an honor to be here. And I know as the chairman for Performers Rights Society of Kenya, I should start from there and saying that we represent actors and musicians. So it's the whole thing of performers, which is the right of the ones who perform and the rights of, who perform the sound recording and audiovisual works. So that's the right that we represent at Performers Rights Society of Kenya, and our work is to collect royalties on behalf of musicians and actors. And the first effect is that right now we have no place to collect. So we don't have, you know, all the hotels are closed. You know, you can't even go to a business asking for the license fees, whereas you know very well they're not even making any sales.
Right.
So definitely the business has gone down, and the biggest worry is that we don't even have anything to pay the musicians and actors. So it's such a problem to the entire society. To an individual level as a musician, yes, there's a big problem because most of the musicians and actors, we depend from, we say from hand to mouth. Whereas you go, you perform somewhere, whatever you get, that money will take you through the week or throughout the month. But right now there's no place to perform. So it's serious. It's a serious issue affecting the entire society and all the people who are involved into music and acting.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we're to be honest, I think even before COVID-19, there was a lot of questions too about whether even the whole royalty system has been working well for Kenyans. What would be your response to that? Because a lot of people have raised various questions and objections to it, not just with PRISC, but even other, are they called CMOs?
CMOs, yes.
Yes.
They're called collective management organizations. They represent different rights. There is MCSK, which represents the rights of authors and composers. There's CAMP, which represents the rights of producers. Now, and as for the performers, yes, there before, there were issues to do with royalties and paying the artist. But if you check, and I know the musicians and actors can attest to this, that from PRISC side, we've been able to distribute their royalties according to the way it's supposed to be. In 2017, PRISC, we did scientific distribution, which is now the distribution that is to in regards to how your music or your music has been played. But 2018 and 2019 we were not able to do that. Why? Because most of you can only do the scientific distribution when you have the logs. And now most these logs come from broadcasters, and most of the broadcasters had not paid for the license, so there was nothing to pay for the scientifically. But we did general distribution, and 2019 at the end, all the three CMOs with new leadership. We have new boards at MCSK, a new board at CAMP, and of course a new board at PRISC. The boards, from there are some regulations that came from the government, which that every CMO must pay 70% of its collection to the members, and that percent becomes for the administration fee. Now, this is the catch where most of the musicians and actors, maybe they don't understand. It's not that the CMOs don't distribute. The issue is with compliance. Most of the Kenyans have not really understood about copyright, so they don't really pay. So whatever they collect, even that 70%, maybe you realize you'll get maybe 4,000 in 3 months, that's quarterly. But as we are, like now as we are focusing, I know you're aware there's a regulation from Communication Authority that all broadcasters by 1st June, they must comply and pay the copyright license. Now from June, if they comply and that regulation is taken seriously by the broadcasters, then you realize artists can receive very good money.
So the time that, of course, there was a time where there was a lot of social media discussions around, what was it, 2,500?
Yes, and that is from our mother CMO, MCSK. I agree. And then let's think, change it from now, from last month, where on social media everybody was like, I've received 400,000, I've read 100,000. I'm sure you saw it. So things are changing now because they paid, that time they did general distribution. And that time they had like, is it 47 million? 40, I think it was 47 million being distributed to over 16,000 musicians, and they did it general equally. And of course there was admission fee. Then there was we call them reciprocal rights. They had to send money to the international bodies whom they have signed reciprocal rights with. So that's why. But when they did scientific distribution last month, I saw like South Soul and other big artists that they were on social media, they were given 400,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's hope then that, you know, times have changed. As you've said, there's new management across boards.
Yes.
Across all the
three CMOs.
The three CMOs.
Yes.
So let's certainly hope for better times with that said. But I mean, just getting back to where we're at currently
Yes.
with Corona, it seems in many ways that even post this Corona, do you anticipate that gigs will suddenly just be sprouting up, or it seems that a lot of people will also be taking time to just recover
Exactly.
to where they need to be.
Yes.
So what should be the mindset of a musician right now? Are there any sort of things that can be done? Are there any things that the CMOs are working on? I know a lot of
Yeah.
there have been a lot of discussions about, say, insurance and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Are there any measures in place?
I'll just say, like the way Healthier said, this is a very personal responsibility that if you depend on CMOs, for example, I know Camp, they're distributing today. I know Praise could be distributing next week, I think on Thursday. And this money can't be enough to take you through. And talking of gigs, it won't happen immediately after, like now, we are sure the COVID-19 is fading and we can go back to our normal self. It's not that easy. And the advice that I would give a musician or an actor is that think of a side hustle, something else you can do besides just singing, you know, like even changing the lifestyle. If you know you've been living in an expensive house, just go to a cheaper house. For the time being, things will settle and you'll go back to the normal lifestyle you've been living. But if you stay and expecting, maybe you find yourself into so many debts, you find yourself, and then later on you find our artists will get into depression, because even the CMOs, even other PRSPs won't be able to, because right now PRSPs is the company that people download their music from. They won't, people won't download music because they don't have that money to do that, because the issue is general, it's global, so no one is making that good money, you understand? So the thing is, I think artists need to think of a side hustle, something else you can do besides music, because this thing, it's not just going on out like after 3 months we are done. Maybe after 3 months there'll be issues that will come the other 3 months. So 6 months and you don't have a job, there are no gigs, I mean, it will be tough.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those situations, you know, where literally everybody is affected. So it's quite a tough one,
It
right?
is.
Like we all just kind of have to.
Yes.
I think all of us are taking a hit in one way or another.
Sure.
And we just need to be thinking forward about those solutions. That's what's most important right now.
I agree.
But speaking of solutions, I mean, I think we've had very many discussions about the Kenyan industry, entertainment industry for a
Yes.
while now.
Yes.
We already understand, of course, our population is very young. So there's a
Yes.
lot of creativity
Yes.
within the economy here.
Yes.
Do you think enough has been done to sort of provide for the entertainment industry to truly flourish? To me, it's a shame as a musician to myself that we're still struggling with things like piracy in 2020. Or, you know, just there's still bootleg music inachezwa huko ukipitia
Nailipwe.
Nailipwe. So, you know,
I
has
understand.
enough been done?
I think not yet, but we say it's we are getting there. And appreciating the government, what the government is doing. Last year, the president assented to the Amendment Act, Copyright Act. Now, that one, already you realize that's a step for the musicians and actors in this country. When you talk about copyright, Section 36A of the Amendment Act, you realize talks about the piracy thing, and even Kenya Copyright Board, they have already started. There's a department on piracy, and they are working together with other stakeholders, which they are protecting the right of the copyright as a whole. So I believe it's step by step, and we are getting there. So already issue to do with piracy, that would be history. whatever is happening right now, the issue of compliance, things will change in this country. So we complained for many years, and I know the government, even seeing the president giving an order for the musicians, that's a plus. It has not been there. Like, nobody has been taking us serious. For example, tukienda wambia Mathako, hey, okay, mama, I want to be a musician. Hey, yapana, wewe tunataka kuwa doctor. Because they don't believe that music is business. They don't believe that music can be used as a way of making money. Because tunajua tu muziki ni kitu tu ya just for fun. But where we are heading to, seeing when the president of a country taking it serious, na anaitangaza as an order and as an executive order, it means even the government wants this conversation.
Right. So
and they have taken it.
What are some of the other things, though, to be doing to really formalize this industry then for people? Insurance, for example, has been a conversation that's been thrown around in different quarters for a while. I'm not sure how far that has reached. But what are some of the other ways to really make sure that this is now a very serious industry, as you're saying, that people can live and find their sustenance from?
I believe it's engagement between the industry and the government. That's the first thing. For example, right now there's a very good relationship between the CMOs and the Ministry of ICT and the regulator, Kenya Corporate Board, whereas there are plans underway. Because 2017, as Prisk, we had a medical cover. But going to 2018, it wasn't able, because you see, we were spending, you are told to pay almost the amount of money that you collect to pay for an insurance cover. So we realized, instead of doing this, let them pay the musicians. But there's that process. We are still lobbying with the government, and I believe we are yet to, the president is yet to release the system that will be used by the CMOs, whereas we to have a national registry, and you'll be able to monitor your works wherever you are. So those are some of the changes, and I believe as we continue that with that engagement between the musicians, let me call them performers, and the government, then at the end of the day, you realize there will be a big change. But it's a conversation.
Okay.
Yes.
So still a ways for us to go, but you seem quite hopeful, certainly, that this would be changing in the hopefully near future, because I think this is something people have been waiting for a while.
I can assure you, this is something that will happen. If anything, if there were not this period of COVID-19, you could have seen a lot of changes even in the industry now. But I know work is still in progress. People are still meeting for organizing and planning, and very soon there'll be a big announcement about the industry.
All right. Well, we certainly hope so. And I really want to thank you, Fantas, for your time. Thank you for coming through to the show.
Awesome.
And hopefully, as we continue through this season, if you're a musician or an artist out there, do reach out to your friends and family for help. I think really this is the point for us to be really relying on one another, as all of us are trying to figure this out. And, as we look to you guys as well to really moving forward as we continue with this. So thank you once again for your time, Efantis. And with that said, we're going to take a short break right now. And just before we do, let me remind you that you can put a smile on your face despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Save up to 70% on a happy ticket. Buy 2 or more tickets and stand a chance to win merchandise, as well as premiere tickets to Wonder Woman, James Bond, and many more. These are redeemable at any Anga IMAX branch until the 31st of December 2020. Tickets are going for only 200 bob until the end of 30th of this month, which is 30th April. And as they say, the show must go on. All right. So, and this is a way for you again to support the performers, right? Many people will be relying on if you have plays or things that you hear coming up later, that's another way for you to be able to support your favorite musicians. And